Absolutely, and the fortunes of his team tend to ride with him. A couple of the VPLs that have gone by quite slowly, and when he has, so has the team. And when he has come into form, the fortunes of the team, that the Explorers will be looking to keep him low on confidence, as you would probably term it. It's good to see Darius Martin back on the field of play. Young fast bowler, exciting prospect, and it will be good to see how he goes today. This is a different strip than the one that we have been playing on for the last few days, so it will also take probably a few deliveries for the players to get adjusted to probably what might be a different pace and bounce. Fine leg and a short leg and a first slip. Ring field on the offside. Fine leg, sorry, and third man, deep third deliveries for the players to get leg mid wicket, mid off, mid on, different pace and bounce. Cover point, slip. And third man, deep third deliveries for the players to get leg mid wicket, mid off, mid on. Left alone outside the off stump in that channel. Jeffrey Boycott would call it the corridor of uncertainty.
Interesting start there from Gideon. I don't know if the intention here is to look at a few balls and just get his eyes in. But not quite often you see guys leaving alone a ball in T10. It goes to show that he has a plan here.
Might be probably because he's looking and saying, "Oh, let me see how this pitch is going." And he knew he was out in the first over in the last game. Might be trying to make amends for his team. This one he goes after in true T10 fashion, gets the inside edge. It was a fairly good delivery outside the off stump, and he will take them as they come.
Yeah, we have seen some pace from Darius Martin in the previous games, and no doubt he'll be looking to come with the same sort of aggression in this game. I'm not too sure if with this feel, I don't think he's tending to pull back the length, because Gideon is fairly strong on the back foot, so it seems as though he's going to be pitching up the ball and aiming for maybe a Yorker, because he has fine leg and third man. This is a very interesting feel here.
Right, very good length again, and he has a slip in place as well, so he's saying, well, I'm going to push it across you, and if you make an error, I have my fielder there, Graves, in first slip to snaffle that opportunity.
But it would seem as though he's trying to bowl a first-class length, first-class line and length here. With the slip there, he's trying to get a nick. I don't know if I would have had the fine leg though, even after that forced edge. I would take that still.
Fine, good length, very good delivery, good control shown here by Martin. Yeah, you said you wouldn't have the fine leg. Where would you move the fine leg? Would you bring him in the circle, and who would you push out, if anyone, to replace him?
Well, if he's gonna stick with that length, right, I would have either the long off or the covers. Okay, he now brings out the slip, right, and offer some protection there. I think that's a waste position there at fine leg, because even if he's going to bowl short, then that man will be better served on the boundary at square leg.
This one is pulled off the front foot, really didn't rock that far back. They just put the weight back on the back foot, pulling well in front of square on the onside. And as you said, he's very strong on the pull, one of his favorite shots, and he got that one away. Convincing fashion.
See, sometimes you confuse the bowler when you move slip out, so you're telling the bowler, well, okay, move away from that first class line, that test length and line, and he just pull it back a bit. So now you see the change. He brought up the fine leg. That's always a better option in this game, especially if the bowler has good control like we know Darius Martin has.
Again outside the off stump and a good length left alone. So 8 without loss after the first over. Both teams would more or less be satisfied with the start thus far. We have the Arnesville complex, not just the playing field, but from time to time we get images of the hard court and the other facilities around. And you can see Dr. Shallow's yacht in the background there. Is that one yours?
Have to doubt it today, you know. Come and spend some time with you guys in the commentary box. Yeah, but this is a good start. However, typical West Indian style. 2 scoring deliveries, you know, and 4 dot balls. I'm hoping that that pattern could change throughout the tournament. But I think we'll definitely see some the approach to hit a lot of boundaries, as we see now with Darren Graves into the attack here, Alonso.
Graves, he's bowling without a long on, which is interesting. So far, only one fielder is outside of the circle. By outside, so far he has only the deep mid wicket in position. He'll be bowling to the right hander, he's bowling off spin. Interesting field. So they have only decided to employ one field outside of the circle. There's a square leg just forward of square, and there's also a backward square leg. So an interesting field. Now he sends out the long on, and there's a mid off of a cover point, a backward point, and a short third man. A single. He's off the mark, Maloney. You're just joining us. We had a slight delay due to some technical issues. That's why you have seen only 7 deliveries at this juncture of the game. Trust that everything will be fine for the rest of the day, and I believe it would. Brings Pope into strike. There's a mirror field, so it's the same field, just an exchange between the right and the left hander. So there's a long on and a deep mid wicket in place. And Graves, he has opened the bowling quite often for the Explorers. And what do you think will be his plan here to Pope? They are very familiar with each other. That one has been smashed just forward of square. 4 runs. And that one seemed like a shot from a gun. It went at breakneck speed across the outfield. 2 short from Graves.
It's going to be a difficult task here for Darren to bowl to get run. That one wasn't by any means, you know, very short, but he was quickly onto it, and you could see the field set for that.
This one is a bit straighter, so it doesn't give him as much use of the arm, and he just tucks it for the single. So it brings Maloney back into strike, but he seems in a very aggressive mood as usual, Gideon.
As an off spinner myself, I pride myself as an off spinner. I love bowling against left-handers, but in this particular case, I think I would have preferred to be bowling at Des Run and get run.
Slight misfield. This one is punched on the offside. They get through for the single in the end. The old adage of never run on a misfield. It's a T10 game, so you'll take them as they come. But that one past the infield. Just 2 singles so far for Maloney. 2 off 2. Pope, the aggressor. Short fine leg has been moved to short third. Offside field being reinforced, and that should be the way the ball is turning towards for the right hand, for the off spinner. With that, there was an adjustment in the line, Dr. Shallow.
Yes, and you could see a pack outside field. I think where he's going to be trying to bowl is flat on off and middle stump, right? Any sort of room width going to be crunchy, but I mean, Gideon would have to really place it well to get 4 because of the pack on off field.
It's punch off the back foot, and as you talk about placement, this one will go all the way for 4. The speedy Taylor and Harry is after it, but you'll not be able to haul that one back in. That was a good shot there by Pope.
That was well executed there. You can see, you know, he waited on that. Look at him. He waited on it and just really placed it well, because there are 4 players right there, 4 fielders, and to get it through that gap, it took some really good execution. And credit to Gideon Day. We know Gideon for brute force, hits the ball extremely hard, and it's really good to see that he has really developed his range there. I think he has done some work, So I mean, look at this. Even he has lost quite a bit of weight. I can't stop commending him enough. Even this morning I went out and I told him I hope this means that his eyes are set on a CPL and even first class cricket again. I'm hoping that is his intention as we hear the spectators coming in there. All the noise.
Of course, and he has the ability to represent the Windwards at those levels, of course. And even to go further. Former West Indies under 19 player. Well, in the under 19 World Cup in 2016, when the West Indies won the tournament, teammates with Alzari Joseph and his captain at the time was Shimron Hetmeyer. They have gone on to represent the West Indies. Javan Dean Brown is introduced to the bowling. Fine leg and third man in place on the boundary. Good delivery, good Yorker then delivery. When he was moving around in his crease, but had to jam the bat down on that one quickly.
But started from Brown, Dean Brown. Desron hasn't been in the best of form, and he would look to he's really the leader of this Hikers team, has been from the inception, and he would know that the team relies heavily on him to score some runs, so he's going to want to get some runs today.
And after a very good delivery initially, this one is wide. Very wide down the leg side, and a good stop by keeper James.
It's really good to see Jonathan Blades. I don't know how well you know him, Alan, but a very keen umpire who lives in Barbados and has traveled to St. Vincent. He was in the last VPL as well, and once he found out the date this time, made himself available to be here again. Great to have him.
This one is wide again, called by umpire Blades. Yes, so very, very. He has been quite efficient. I've noticed his work in the last VPL, and I must say that he has been quite efficient as an umpire. And generally gets it right. We are all human and prone to an error here and there, but he does an excellent job.
First class umpire, well recognized and appreciated across the region as one of our better umpires. Hopefully he makes it to the international one of these days.
On the struck on the pad, seemed to be just outside the off stump though as he moves across the crease, something that he does quite often. That was a good delivery by Dean Brown. Slower delivery there. Close call, but seemed to be just outside the off stump.
So, and that is the reason why we have persons like Blades and Butler doing these matches. Rajan, they all are very good umpires. For decisions like that, it's important that they get these decisions right. Also, one of the reasons why the SVGC has introduced the review umpire as well for run out and stumping, and you have seen some close calls with boundary checks and so on. Really great features adding value to the tournament.
Absolutely. Short, it's pulled. Have a long on in place, so he does the feeling. 1 run conceded. Yes, those additions have really brought some added value to the competition, bringing it closer and closer to what persons may expect even at the highest level. Probably once we get the Hawkeye and a couple other things, then we'll be right up there with international cricket.
Or generally calling for a few more features to be added too. So, but edition 5, Paul and his ITFX team would be pushing, and we say, international cricket when it comes to St. Vincent, they should be leading as the production team.
This one is short. Oh, and he's pulling. He's caught down the leg side. And again, that short ball from Brown gets a wicket. Not the quickest of short deliveries, but it seemed as if, he rolled his fingers over that one. It was a slow one, and there was Maloney looking to pull it around. Didn't get any timing, just a feather, and he has been dismissed for 2.
Disappointing for Maloney. He, like I said earlier, he would have wanted to get a score hold to it, but it's not a bad start by any means. And to get Dylan Douglas, who is one of the batsmen in the tournament, who will be looking to be in the top 5 of the aggregate, the runs aggregate by the end of the tournament. He has been one of the most successful batters in the tournament thus far over the 4 editions. So he certainly has the potential to score big. And, he'll be looking to put his highest score. He has batted 3 times so far in this tournament, 2 ducks, and I think 9 from 9, he told me this morning. So, quite way off from the start he wanted.
Taking his guard, looks like a Lexam guard from here. And Brown will be continuing to him. Brown will want to see the back of him quite quickly. So too will all the Darkview Explorers and their supporters.
Question for you, Alonso. Would you have been tempted to move Calvin Hodge up 1?
This one is wide down the leg side. So single plus the wide. Actually, I would have been tempted to open with Hodge, actually. Has done so for them at certain points in the past. And I would have been tempted to use him in the opening slot. Now, the other thing that I would be considering is the form. I think they're considering also the form of Maloney and Douglas as they go deeper in the tournament. So they want them to get as much opportunity as possible to get themselves into some reasonable nick.
Maloney really has been inconsistent in VPL. There are times when he has moved on down. And it started but 4 times. 5 and 6 years, an average of 21. With an impressive strike of 140. But you would think that Maloney, with his potential of 4-star player as well, he would probably have better stats than this.
Yes, he seems to be one of those players who plays a lot on confidence. When he goes through troughs, they tend to continue for a while. Slow delivery there by Brown, defeating Pope outside the off stump. Yes, he seems to go through some long troughs of poor performances. And then when he gets on a high, then he rides that for a while. So it's something that he can work on as a player. He tends to thrive off confidence. I think that to be more consistent and give the results that I expected of him.
Douglas, his 30 innings would 3 2 4 half trees and a present project. So why hikers keep us at 1? As you probably suggested, alone you probably which if
Reeves just single forward 2. There's no way Gideon was going to go for 2 runs there. Bruno having got a start in this miss in the first over. In the last game, with the 2, but I think the right decision was made in the end.
It would have been a tight 2. It would have been a very tight one, and Dillon has to be careful. When you're not in form, these things tend to go against you. So I don't think he wants to run that risk. But that is the nature of Dillon. He's an aggressive player. Even when he takes singles and running between the wickets, he's quite aggressive.
On his full, he was looking for the stock sweep, got the inside edge, single taken. 26 for 1 after 3.1 overs, 3.2 overs, 27 for 1.
So we see Graves is bowling out here. What is Lyndon's approach? What would Lyndon's approach be after this?
This one is pulled over the infield, over the leg side. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 4 runs. So he got a shorter delivery there from Graves, and he was able to dispatch it over square leg. In answer to your question, I definitely think he would bring on Luke Wilson as soon as the power play is out. Wilson has been bowling well, not just good for them in this tournament, but since he has come into the VPL, he has been a standout performer as an off spinner. So he will definitely be in the attack, and I think he may utilize after this delivery. He'll there for LBW. Not out is the adjudication by the umpire. Yeah, I think he may continue with Dean Brown or save him for one over with Martin at the end and introduce perhaps one of his other part-time bowlers, probably Hooper or even Atanis. That one has been lofted over mid-wicket, 6 runs by Pope, and he's in a no-nonsense mood this morning, and that takes the score up to 38 for 1 after 3.5 overs.
Good batting there by Gidron. At this stage of his innings, he'll be looking to step up the tempo, and I think the next few balls, if he's there up to maybe 6 over or so, I think he'll be close to half century.
Graves needs to adjust his line and his length after that last shot. Is the pack offside field? Length. This one is a bit shorter. He's looking for the run out there, but good single taken. And after the power play, the Lassufre Hikers are 39 for 1. Pope is not out on 26 of 16 deliveries. Douglas is on 6 of 3 deliveries. The batsman dismissed Maloney. He scored 2, and he was dismissed of the bowling of Dean Brown, who had him caught down the leg side. Strangled, you would say, down the leg side, caught by keeper James.
It's a good power play for the Hikers. I would say that, coming out with 9.75 runs per over in the power play with the loss of only 1 wicket, I think that's probably tipping the scale to them. One of the issues with the Explorers team, they do have about 3 or 4 off spinners, right? Which probably not as diverse as some of the other teams. They have Shaman, so you have Deran, who has bowlers too. You have Shaman Hooper, you have Alec Atanes and Luke Wilson, right? So we'll be trying, hopefully, that Siran could come and add that difference to the attack like spinner, and then probably just Dean Brown, who has 1 more over to bowl. So not a lot of options. Darius obviously has to come back and bowl his other one, but a lot of spinning option. And I think that if the team lines up well against these spinners, they could probably be challenged, the Explorers.
Delivery it short, and it's a wonderful catch taken by Dean Brown. One of the persons you don't want to hit the ball in the air to. Very good catch. And Pope will be very disappointed with that. He was a long hop, and he was looking for 6.
That's an excellent catch there by Dean Brown. Very talented player, and just not the person you want to be picking out. It was hit flat, and look at that catch, right on the boundary. Excellent catch. We have seen a few easy chances put down in this tournament, but not from Dean Brown.
Absolutely, one of the better fielders. You think of the tournament, and you think of fielding, and you how Hodge is coming to the crease is somebody you think about. You think about Douglas, you think about Dean Brown, you think about Hooper, you think about Kieran Katoy. There's several of them who stand out among their peers in terms of their level of fielding. And of course, Dean Brown adding another feather to his cap there with that catch. And so Kevin Hodge comes out now. The Explorers will be glad to see the back of Gideon, who has been the main aggressor thus far in this innings.
Kevin would be coming into the crease really confident. So far, he has played 15 VPL matches and scored 180 at an average of 25. He has a highest of 48. I'm surprised he hasn't scored half century in this tournament yet. I think he has with 6 overs to do that if he bats to the end.
48 at the end of the chase in the previous game, and C. Ron Williams will be very happy with that wicket. He was disappointing in the last game. Nice turn on that one, leg spinner there. So he was disappointing in the last game, but he bowled very well for them in VPL 3. And so he would want to continue in the same vein from here on. Fuller, driven down to long off. Long off is in place. He will cut that off. Martin, one taken. So at the end of the power play, the fielders are now back on the boundary. Well, you have a deep square leg, a deep mid wicket, long on, long off, and sweeper cover. Of 3 on the offside, extra cover, point, short third man, and there's a short fine leg in the ring. This one has been slug swept for 6. Just a little bit too full, getting in the half of Douglas, and Douglas with that shot, I'm sure now he'll be saying to himself, I'm starting to feel like my old self now.
We certainly got some confidence from that shot. Got that one almost out the middle. I still think that normally when Dylan hits them out the middle, they go out the ground. So but he would definitely take some confidence from that.
He's hit that one a lot better, a bit higher, but it's well over the boundary. And Seal Run is under some pressure here early in his spell. Once more.
But he started well with getting the wicket off Gidron, right? That's the thing about leg spinners. They produce chances, but they go for some runs, a bit more runs than other bowlers. I guess being more attacking by nature. But 2 very good shots there by Dylan. I'm wondering if he's going to go for a third one.
I think he needs to pull his leg back. It's just a little too full. At once, his hands on head may have been a little edge there. But it seemed to be quite a thick edge, striking James on the shoulder. That one was a quicker one, seemed to be more of a flipper, front of the hand type of delivery. 53 for 2. At the end of 5 overs, the Lassifrey Hikers, Douglas is on 19 of 6 deliveries with those 2 sixes in the last over. And Luke Wilson is now being introduced into the attack. And he bowled a spell of 2 overs, 1 for 12 in his last game. He was among the top wicket takers in the last edition of the VPL. Going to replicate those performances in VPL too.
Has bowled really well in VPL. A youngster still. I think he's just about 16, probably the number on his back. And the last game I think he went for maybe 12 runs or something like that and took some wickets.
This is flighted and it's hit flat and hard over long on by Douglas. And so he means business today, and he's off like a flash from a gun.
But he has to be careful with Luke Wilson, because Luke, he's a very composed young man, and that 1-6 would not throw him off of his plan. Very intelligent young player, and he's known to pick up some big wickets in this tournament as well. So don't expect Dylan to stop it.
See there already, the length was pulled back, a little straighter outside the off stump. Slower as well than the first delivery. Wide, and it's cut away 4 more runs to Douglas. That one was actually a poor delivery. That one was too wide, too short, and he got the treatment.
Yeah, I think Luke, they just conscious that Dylan is trying to go on the onside and try to come, and sort of overcompensated there by going on the offside. A little too wide. Even if he had left that would have been called a wide.
Now he adjusts. Better line, better length. Some turn onto the pads. They think of 2, and as I had said before Hodge came out to bat, that if these 2 were batting on that occasion, it was Pope who was batting with Douglas, that they would have looked for 2, and you can see there they took that 2 quite easily in the end.
This is really smart batting from Dylan Douglas. He has hit a 6 and a 4 and then rotated nicely.
Again, he pushes, but this time he'll get only 1. It goes straight to Graves onto long on. So he's on 32 off 11 deliveries. So he is off with a very brisk start. And that he bats all the way to the end of the 10 overs, because if that is the case, they will have a mammoth score here today.
For me, he's scoring 100 in this tournament, and I won't bet against it.
Never short on confidence is Dylan. This one is cut away by Hodge, but should be cut off by the sweeper, yes. It's paired down there on the cover boundary. Fumble there by the captain. Naughty fumble there by the captain. Allow these two to get an extra run. So it's 68 for 2 after 6 overs. The Lassufre Hikers there now applying some pressure as they summit those high and lofty peaks in terms of run scoring.
An expensive over there. I think probably the most expensive over Lucas Bowl for this tournament thus far. 15 runs from it. But Dylan has been batting beautifully so far. 32 from 11, and that obviously has propelled the score to 68 for 2 from 6 overs. I think they're pushing now to maybe, what you say, 120 target, eh?
I think that would be a minimum that they will look for, and if these two bat all the way to the end, they may actually even exceed that. In the last 2 overs, after the power play, they were 39, and so in the last 2 overs, they have scored 29 runs. And the partnership is 29 as well off 11 deliveries. So they're almost scoring at 3 runs a ball here.
Shots there for Annisville. So weather this afternoon, like I said, we had some sun this morning, but it's good to see you see a few vehicles there, spectators. Later this afternoon, you could expect a bit more vehicles. And of course, on the weekend, it's going to be crowded down here at Annisville.
In Brown now, he will his final over. Took 1 for 5 so far. It's full, punched the onside gap, but that's Shaman who, but they won a chance to him. Very quick in the field. So one of those brilliant fielders that we mentioned already in the that we have in the tournament here.
Yes. We have seen some really good feeling. There's some strong feelers. People like Shaman Hooper. You mentioned a few others earlier.
This one is punched down the.
Hit that one. You didn't time that one.
Dropped by Luke Wilson. I think he probably even tripped over the way of where he was, and he had it initially, and as soon as I was about to say that, he has caught that one. You see that slow delivery again, another good delivery by, as soon as I was about to say that, he has caught that one. You see that slow delivery again, another good delivery by Dean Brown. He had it, and he realized that he was over and was going to release it, but in the end, I think that will be 6 runs.
Yeah, I think it was a good effort from Luke, but I think only late that ball actually went further than I thought. And I didn't realize it was so close. In fact, at one point it looked as though he had to come in to get the ball.
One has been hit flat, but down too long. Should be only one run. Atenes has it in his possession. He releases it quickly. End of Dean Brown's spell. He could have had 2 wickets, but he finishes with 1 for 16 off his 2 overs. Not a bad return. We play again. In the end, his momentum taking him over the rope, and as he tried to release it back onto the field, it landed off the field. That traveled far, as you said, Kish, because that is actually against the wind in that direction. Straight boundaries are not that far, but are not that long, but that was still a fair distance for a slower delivery off the outer edge to travel. So 79 for 2 off 7 overs. See them ending up here from this position now.
Yes, I think with 3 overs remaining, at least you would think you'll be aiming for 10 runs minimum. So that would take you up to 109, and then you want one very big over close to 20. So I think 125 is on the cards.
And Atenes has been introduced to the bowling. You will want to have other ideas. Oh, that's cut away. It was short. It's cut away off the top edge, and it eluded Martin, who leapt, trying to haul that one in, but it was easily over him in the end. And once it's over you there, it's going to speed away quickly to the boundary. So another 4 runs, and this time to Hodge, who is on 15 off 8, seemingly quietly, but his strike rate is almost 200. This one is swept, but straight to the fielder at square leg. So single taken. And that's an overthrow there. Really should have only been 1. A bit of sloppy work we have seen here from the Derby Explorers. Really should have been 1 run. So
Captain Lyndon, I mean, I don't know what happened today. He just hasn't turned up just yet.
Now he advances down the pitch. They're definitely going to take 2 runs here. Not a question at all with these 2 batting. So 2 runs taken. Yes, the 3 fumbles have actually been made by him. So it's something that maybe he has too much on his mind. But trying to contain these 2 batsmen.
I believe so. As a captain, I guess he has other things in mind, and he focuses on who is going to bowl the remaining 2 overs and all of that, and trying to reduce and restrict them to under a certain figure. I'm sure he'll be thinking keeping them under 115, while the hikers will be thinking closer to 130, right? And he'll be having to think of the strategy here.
This one should be caught. Easily caught by Graves down at long on. Didn't get the contact that he wanted there, Hodge. And there he was trying to loft Atenes. You see that delivery? And it was actually a very good line. Didn't give him the use of his arms. It was coming towards his legs. And so good, important wicket taken there by the Darkview Explorers as they try to curtail the run scoring of the hikers.
It's a good wicket to get there for Atenes. Atenes is one of those, strike bowlers. He might go for a couple boundaries, but he's going to produce a chance, at least 1 chance, so you can get a wicket. So that's really good. It should slow down the momentum a bit. However, from here though, you have poor hitters coming in. So with them aiming for the boundary, then it could be quite an expensive over.
Indeed, and it's 87 for 3. It's 87 for 3 here, and 7.4 overs have gone. And the big hitting Otney Lewis now joins Dylan Douglas at the crease. Lewis was very productive with the bat in the last edition of the VPL. Called on to dig them out of some sticky situations on more than 1 occasion, especially chasing. And the 7.4 overs have gone. Here he goes here against Atenes. And the big hitting Otney Lewis. Good delivery. Full and he's aiming for the feet, the Atenes. So this is good thinking by him. He's looking at the batsman's feet. and he's aiming for that, trying to ensure that he doesn't give them the leverage that they would need to hit the ball over the boundary.
So this Dominican, he has some experience playing cricket, young, very promising Dominican player. I believe has the potential to go all the way in international cricket.
I would agree with you there. This one is for a single. He, of course, represented West Indies under 19 years ago, and in that competition was actually the competition after Pope and Hetmai and so on were on the team. And I think it was 2018. And in that competition, he actually scored a century for West Indies under 19. Then, first class cricket, and he has had a good start to his first class season this year, and we hope that he will go on from strength to strength. He definitely has the talent, has the ability, stylish batsman, full bowler. So at the end of 8 overs, it's 89 for 3, and current run rate of 11.13 will take them to about 111. They would want to exceed that, but the Explorers would have other ideas. Martin will come on now to bowl his last over. Douglas.
Final over after this.
It's a very good question, because as bowled out, he might have to give it to Athanaze. Good delivery, good Yorker delivery. Punches, looking for 2. Hooper is there. They get 2. Healing, but they get 2 in the end. Very good throw right over the bails, and quickly across, but I think the 2 was always on there.
Very good feeling out there by Shaman Hooper. Quick across the ground, and look at that, release really. I think he has a bit of a shoulder injury, but still managed to get that in really quickly. But this is a big over here. If Martin can restrict them under 10 runs over, that would be very good. Hikers would have other intentions.
With a scoop there. Normally you'd say that might be a wide, but he was well across his crease, so not called by the umpire.
I think definitely premeditated that one, because the ball went to wide and he still looked to scoop it over fine leg pretty much. So, well, he tried to go over the keeper head, but the tall man there, then it is pointless. I think he better off trying to come straight down the ground and getting a 6.
I would agree with that. Shot that he likes, but it gets him into trouble from time to time.
We have seen him out himself with that shot a couple of times.
Smart bowling there. One of those things that when you're looking to hit the ball, even though you see it wide, sometimes you still end up making contact when you're thinking, well, I should have just left that for the wide.
Yeah, and Darius Martin, I mean, he hasn't played first class yet, but he has been around the national setup. He is a retained player for the Volcanoes, the Winter Island Volcanoes. So he does have the experience. He has the consistency as well. And you see those last 2 balls were pretty much the same spot. Maybe Dillon now would probably look to go across and, sort of conquer that. If he walks across, then he might get it a bit straighter that he can hit down the ground.
He leaves it alone. So he said, well, I'll take the wide, I'll take the extra.
Yeah, and good call there from Dillon. Dillon Douglas. We have seen in international cricket and IPL and all these other leagues that, you could bowl a few there, but it's difficult to bowl all that very one spot. I've seen Dwayne Bravo, he has done it pretty well, but even him being as good as he is, he still go outside that line from time to time.
And another wide. So what do you think may happen here? It may actually cause him to think about his ploy, or will he persist with this approach?
Well, he knows if he comes straight off at Dillon's stump, then Dillon more than likely going to hit him down the ground over long on. And that is what he's trying to avoid here. I think you just have to persist. If that is the team's plan, that is his plan, he has to stick to it, and he has to back himself to execute better than that.
He goes too close to him, and he has been hit all the way into the courts, well over mid-wicket. That's a big 6.
That's massive hit. And look at this replay, right? It is not very much away from his plan. But Dylan walked across because he realized that is the intention there from Darius, and he walked across. And credit to him, he executed well. And sometimes as a bowler, you have to just accept that. Well, he won that particular encounter, that particular backer. But he would have to now come back for this next couple balls in the over and try to finish well. If he can get a wicket here for his team, I think that would be excellent. But at the very least, he would want to ensure that there's no other boundary in this over.
It was a good over so far, and so he will want to ensure these last two deliveries that he has. He may be looking for the same plan, but what we saw was excellent execution there from Douglas. Not only did he walk across, but he ensured that he got very low. So he was able to get the elevation, he got under that delivery, even though it was not that far short of the Yorker length.
It's good cricket. We see a plan here from Darius Martin. We see a plan here from Captain Lyndon James. And, it's good to see a batsman, coming on top of even those plans. But the interesting thing now is, how does Darius Martin respond?
If he was on the other strip, the one that we were playing on a few days ago, he might have been trying the short delivery.
Are you suggesting that the other pitches had more pace than this one?
I think the one that we played on yesterday and a couple of days before seemed to have a little bit more carry. Not that this one is slow, but it seemed to have a little bit more in there for the quick bowlers.
Credit to the ground staff. Maybe we should lend them to our neighboring countries with these test matches we played recently with some of the. But we won't go. I see you shaking your head, Alan. So let's not go there.
Tries a short delivery. It's off the glove and down to fine leg. Looking for two. Good running in the end. So 2 runs taken. But as I thought, he tried the short delivery. This one didn't seem to be the full pace one. Seemed a little slower than he would normally bowl. But yes, it was a good decision to actually change the length up a little bit.
Just touch on the pitch. Preparing these pitches are hard work, and what I was quite pleased is to see, some batsmanship from West Indies team. Craig Brathwaite started, and I think it was really fantastic because he could talk about pitches as much as you want. The batsmen still have to go and apply themselves.
Not a short one, that delivery this time, so he decides to use his half of the pitch as I predicted, and he comes up trumps in the end, because at the end of it he goes for just about, I think 11 runs came off the over. Scorer just seeking confirmation there. 12, and he was hit for a 6. So in the end, and considering it's T10 and he was bowling to Douglas, not a bad result for his team.
It's a good finish here for the Explorers. That those last 2 overs, they produced, yes, maybe about 22 runs, but still, in this format, you would take that. And at one point, they were shaping up to be 120, 125. Now, with a very good over here to finish, I think Alec, as you call it, he's going to finish the innings. And with the ball at his hand, and if he produces and delivers a really good over here, then the Explorers could see themselves chasing less than 115, which I think they would go off thinking, yes, we can get that.
Said before, the pitches are looking really good for batting. Nice pace and bounce on all of them. Some a little faster than some, but you'll get that. This one is looking for the almighty shot down the ground. So it's a replay for stump, an appeal for stump by Captain James. As if he may be okay. Seems as if something was indeed grounded behind the line, although he went for that big swing. But it gives the Explorers a chance to have a little chat, to consider their plans for the remainder of the over. You mentioned the West Indies games. I actually read an article by Miller from ESPN Cricket For, and he was saying, well, Brathwaite's innings was very dogged and so on, but is that what we want for Test cricket? And I'm thinking there, as a West Indies supporter, man, he did what is necessary. You make you come up against over 500 in the first innings of a Test match. You will be happy to come out of any Test match where you're facing 500 with a drum. And he did what was necessary. He batted time. He knew that Malak was resting on his shoulders, and he did what was necessary for the team. And I'm sure every West Indian supporter is very happy with doing Brathwaite batting in the last game.
I think what he has shown is some versatility in his batting, because you could recall in the first match in Antigua, he scored 50 of 70 something balls, and we thought, yes, we have a different Brathwaite now, you know. And I think in one of the games he also started with around 10 runs off one of the over, maybe the first innings in Barbados. So it shows that he can, change and play to the situation of the game. And that is really, I mean, I'm impressed with it, with both knocks. And I think typically you want that of a captain to be able to be diverse in his approach to batting. So credit to him. And again, as I said, regardless of the pitch, if you put a concrete strip there, you still have to go and bat.
Of course.
Yes, so I mean, credit to both teams. You had some. Ben Stokes' knock was exceptional, and the way the other guys, Blackwood, good to see him getting 100 as well. And I think Parsons really appreciated it and sets up the series really nicely in Grenada now.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to that game, as Lewis, as we thought, adjudged to be not out, so he had some part of the foot grounded. So let's see the last 5 deliveries of this over. And Vincy is down the pitch. They're looking for 2. Take 2 to pair. So it's 1 run. And of course, I think Dylan also wants to strike. So 4 deliveries remaining. Athenaeus will be bowling to Douglas.
Yes, and I think Douglas here would have no other plans but to hit 6s. And so he'll be swinging to mid-wicket. The breeze isn't that strong today coming across. So, it could be in his favor that once he connects, and then I expect it to go for 6. He's going to come off with at least half century.
Dead ball there.
I like just having a little fun with him.
It favors return. A bit of gamesmanship from both players.
Yeah, and both of them would have spent some time. You see, Romano pay out, they laugh and make it. Both of them they have spent time in the franchise together. So they are friends, they're just enjoying it right now.
This one is whipped behind square, well placed by Douglas. Very good shot. 4 runs, takes him to 49. And as you said, he'll be looking to respond with his half century here after having a few low scores in his first 3 games.
That's putting it mildly, Alan. So he got 2 ducks in the first 2 innings. But he got 9 last time, and today I'm sure he'll be quite happy. I could tell you he is definitely thinking about that 50 now. He wants that 50. So he's going to get it, but because of the state of the game, I think that he will still be trying to hit 6 as opposed to getting a single.
Absolutely. Athenaeus persists with his leg stump line into the toes, which may have actually saved him 2 runs there instead of going for 6. Going for 4. Short fine leg being brought in the finer. Perhaps thinking of a quicker delivery here. Let's see. This one is hit on the onside. They're looking for 2 runs. They're going now, but it's to pair. And there's a little fumble again. Really should have been short of his ground there. I mean, when the throw was coming in, he was about halfway down the pitch. But it brings up his 50 and he raises his bat. And to dive for his crease there, so he might be looking for a little treatment or change of gloves. Yes, he really should have been run out there. Didn't gather again, James. As you currently observe from the shallow. It seems to be off before him today.
Well, he hasn't had any runs so far in this tournament, and that, knowing Lyndon, that is on his mind, that he needs to come good for his team with the bat. And so I think he's distracted wicket-keeping today. He's probably thinking about the bowlers and the field, and also when he's batting on the back of his mind, and whatever these guys get, he has to get it later.
Douglas coming up off 22 deliveries. Good delivery there by Athenaeus. This is very good bowling. Very good bowling. Into the pads, Yorker length. Hit me for 6 there if you can, and you see the acknowledgement between the 2 friends there. Touch off the glove, saying yes, that one was a good one. Last delivery of the innings. Into the pads again. Should be cut off at square leg by Luke. See what they were trying there. So he would have been in his crease, but at the end of the day, it's run out. Good laugh between the two friends. They are from the same era in St. Vincent and the Grenadines here. As we have a replay. So he was hit into the onside going the mid-wicket era. Spun back towards square leg. Fielded there at square leg by Wilson. The throw in. So it is 110, which I think at the end of the day, the Derby Explorers will feel that they're still in the game. 110 for 4. That is what they'll be chasing.
Yes, it's a good total. I think that the Explorers will be happy